New at 9 tonight, the FBI Chicago is sharing new data with WGN that shows a major drop in bank robberies last year. And that's not the only positive progress they're seeing. WGN's Courtney Spinelli sat down exclusively with investigators to talk about the push to hold more people responsible.
We lean in really hard on these bank robberies, and it's not because of the money that's taken from the institutions. It's because of the victims that are affected by it.
Suspects sought by the FBI are dubbed catchy names like the bare-chested or bundled bandits, but it's not to make light of bank robberies. It's to call attention to them to get violent criminals off the streets.
In many of these, the perpetrator may even think it's not particularly violent. Maybe they're threatening a weapon but don't actually show one, and the victim tellers don't know that.
Investigators with the FBI Chicago say just one is too many, but they're feeling hopeful after seeing the number of bank robberies plummet.
What do you attribute these massive drops in the number of bank robberies occurring to?
Yeah, so it's difficult to pinpoint any one thing that's causing that. The numbers that we're seeing are pretty similar to what we saw during the pandemic.
In Chicago, there were 62 bank robberies in 2023 compared to 31 in 2024. That's a drop of 50% in the number of incidents.
It's a meaningful number. It's not just an anomaly that we're seeing last year.
That's because it's reflected across the suburbs as well, according to Supervisory Special Agent Jeremy Resar with the Violent Crimes Task Force in Chicago. Data over a 6-year period from the city and suburbs combined shows 2024 saw the least, with less than 60 bank robberies across the region. That number close to half of what investigators responded to during 2019 and 2023, the two highest periods in the 6-year stretch.
I think what we're most excited about is that accompanying that is also the solution rate, which I would attribute to the partnerships that we have.
The FBI says they've identified about 95% of the suspects responsible for bank robberies in Chicago in 2024. Over 85% of them are in custody. Keep in mind, some of these suspects are allegedly responsible for more than one. The only 2024 robbery not yet solved, one from November at a Wintrust Bank in Irving Park. The suspect believed to be a man in his 20s to 30s.
I think it's an overwhelming message that this is just not a wise crime to commit. Both in terms of the fact that you're likely going to get caught, in terms of the take that we're seeing.
Of the 31 bank robberies in Chicago last year, 15 suspects got away with less than $1,000, 8 with less than $100. A small amount to take, but a massive price to pay, with each charge carrying a penalty of up to 20 years in federal prison. That's the sentence recently handed down to 53-year-old Christopher Porter, convicted of robbing banks in Evergreen Park in Chicago. In one case, he put a customer in a headlock, pointed a gun to his head, and pinned him against a wall.
The escalation of violence that we see in the multiple bank robberies is something that really stands out to us.
Their work far from over, but Resar says this proves change can happen when the agencies and the public work together to hold people victimizing others accountable.
I'm just extremely encouraged by the results that we've seen. And I hope we can keep it moving forward.
In Chicago, Courtney Spinelli, WGN News.